Hello, everybody. You are now tuned in to the Relationship Theater. I am your host, Cornell, and it's going on 1 a.m. And I promised myself that I was going to do a video today, and doggone it, I'm going to keep that promise. I'm not going to sleep until I get this video out. Not to say that I'm super tired or anything like that, but I'm committed to getting this video, this talk, this thought on the digital into the digital on the digital notepad today, and kind of recording these thoughts. So if you will bear with me, let's get right into it. So today's conversation is directly a follow up to our last conversation, which was about intentions, and we talked about the importance of intentions in relationships, how the intentions determine the degree to which we can expand. Um, the intentions are going to determine the duration of the relationship, and how, you know, the intentions are also going to be what determines how happy everyone in the relationship is. And, you know, most people would say that there's a huge gap between what we call intentions and what we call compromise. And I would beg to differ. I think compromise is a good topic to talk about next, simply because without the right intentions, you never get compromise. And sad to say, but there are people in relationships, been in relationships for a very long time, who don't know their partners all that well per se, and it's simply because the intentions weren't right, and there were no intentions that would allow for a type of compromise that led to a win-win scenario for both individuals in that relationship. And so, I guess, what is compromise, right? Compromise, literally, like I said, is about you and I both feeling as if, or getting excited, even though we've given up something. We've kind of sacrificed something, but it's different from sacrifice. Um, but we've given up something in order to make sure that we have some input on a decision, and the other person has some input on that decision as well. That we've both contributed to whatever that outcome is going to be. And so I think really compromise is something that allows for, if you think about it, it allows for us to take the most advantage of the two people involved in the relationship, or involved in, pick your scenario, right? How do I say that? Well, there are two things. We feed off of each other, one. And number two, it allows for us to learn more about ourselves. I often say that in a relationship, the two people involved, especially in romantic relationships, or with people you just live with, they could be your brother and sister growing up, these people know you better than you know yourself. They know your buttons, which buttons to push. They know your insecurities, and they kind of play on that, especially when you're kids. With your wife, or with your girlfriend, or someone else like that, as you mature and your intentions change, because as children, what intentions do we have? They're not as mature as the intentions that we should have or might have with a life partner. But in a scenario where you have a life partner, that person begins to reflect all of the ugly things about yourself that exist on the inside, that you would otherwise not be able to see. There's no other way to see what's actually going on inside you with than with a partner, or a wife or husband, in a relationship. These are people who have been assigned to help you to grow and to improve as a person, to develop. Right? That's their mo. That's their job. And so in compromising or in learning to compromise, we learn to give up both sides. We learn to give up those things that maybe we begin to see as we become more self-aware. Um, and we begin to give up the things that are kind of holding us back. And the wife or the husband begins to give up things that are holding them back in order to make a decision that involves the best parts of us. Okay. Um, what's scary about the fact that people aren't talking as much about compromise and intentions um, is that I think much of what is portrayed these days as far as relationship advice is very selfish. And that's one of the reasons why this channel exists. We want to begin to mine out what what does make a good relationship? What does make good chemistry? Like, what are the ingredients? What are the true ingredients? And what what are and those ingredients could change. I admit those ingredients could change based upon the people involved, and based on the location where you live, all kinds of things, based on the cultural mores and belief systems, et cetera, et cetera. Those things are kind of going to change, but the compromise that we achieve by giving something up, by looking inside of ourselves, by beginning to know more about ourselves because our partner has helped us to know a little bit more about ourselves, um, what we gain is exponential. But before I go, I just want to say too, some people would say that sounds a lot like sacrifice, and I will say, um, sacrifice a lot of times can be done in a selfish manner, because we're hoping to get something in return. That's not necessarily what compromise is. Sacrifice, in some ways, can be zero sum. It is more of a gamble in a lot of ways, than compromise is. Compromise is a negotiation, but it is a negotiation that takes into account, if one has really deeply um, begin to attach to one's partner, it takes into account the things that don't serve you in making this next decision, and the same things that don't serve her in making this next decision, so that we can move not one step forward, but maybe two or three. We gain some leverage by riffing off of one another, improving in the moment, and improving as we move forward. So I just wanted to put that out there. I hope that this video was helpful. I still got to do the thumbnail, right? But I hope that this video was helpful, and tune in for the next one. I'm gonna do one again tomorrow. All right. Thank you so much. Peace.